What if every decision you made, big or small, had the power to propel you forward, closer to your ultimate goals? But here's the truth. Most people drift through life, unaware that each choice is a turning point. Why settle for stagnation when you could command your destiny? How? By acting as if every decision is the one that changes everything. The moment you embrace this mindset, hesitation dies and momentum becomes your new reality. Will you take control or watch others move ahead? In just a few moments, you will discover how to transform every decision into a stepping stone toward unstoppable progress. Imagine waking up every single day with the unshakable belief that every choice you make drives you closer to your ultimate vision. Now, what would that look like for you? Would you move with more confidence? Would you choose your words more carefully? Understand this. Acting as if every decision propels you forward is not a mere exercise in positive thinking. It is the blueprint for manifesting your goals. Many wander through life crippled by hesitation, shackled by the fear of making the wrong move. But here's the secret. Indecision is itself a decision. It is the act of surrendering your power to circumstance. When you act as if every decision matters, you transform hesitation into momentum and doubt into certainty. Why? Because you're training your mind to believe that each step, no matter how small, carries the weight of your destiny. Cornelius Vanderbilt, an American business magnate from the 19th century, he did not wait for perfect conditions to begin his ventures. He acted as if his decisions would lead to success, and they did. While others doubted the value of steamships, Vanderbilt invested with absolute conviction. He didn't hope for success, he assumed it, and that assumption became reality. This is the essence of acting as if, turning belief into a living, breathing force that moves mountains. But ask yourself, how often do you second-guess your own abilities? How many times have you paused at the edge of opportunity, paralyzed by fear? Acting as if strips away the luxury of doubt. It forces you to step boldly into the unknown, guided not by certainty but by conviction. The path forward is simple. Decide that every choice you make is moving you closer to what you want. Act with the confidence of someone who has already succeeded. Let hesitation die in the fire of your own determination. When you move with that kind of purpose, the universe has no choice but to yield to your will. Will you act as if every decision propels you forward, or will you let the tide of doubt wash away your ambition? Transforming obstacles into stepping stones. Picture the obstacles in your path not as barriers, but as stepping stones. What if every setback was simply a redirection towards something greater? Acting as if every challenge is part of your design for success is the cornerstone of resilience, because you are not merely enduring, you are advancing. Most people see difficulty as a stop sign, but for those who act as if every challenge is an opportunity, obstacles become the very thing that sharpens their edge. You are either a victim of circumstance or a master of it. The choice is yours. Benjamin Disraeli, a man who rose to become the Prime Minister of Great Britain despite countless setbacks. He failed repeatedly in his early political career, but instead of retreating, he acted as if every failure was merely another step closer to his eventual triumph. He saw the obstacles not as reasons to surrender, but as reasons to sharpen his resolve. Consider your own journey. That promotion you missed might have spared you from a role that would have stifled your true talents. The relationship that ended painfully likely created space for someone who recognizes your worth. The business failure taught you invaluable lessons no success could have provided. Ancient Stoics understood this principle perfectly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Modern psychology confirms this wisdom through research on post-traumatic growth, the profound positive transformation that often follows life's greatest challenges. First, pause when facing obstacles. Rather than reacting with frustration, ask, what is this teaching me? Where is this directing me? This simple reframing activates your problem-solving abilities rather than your defense mechanisms. Second, study the obstacle itself, like a river flowing around rocks. Identify the path of least resistance without abandoning your destination. Sometimes the detour reveals landscapes you never would have discovered otherwise. Finally, recognize that obstacles filter out the uncommitted. When others retreat, your willingness to persist becomes your competitive advantage. The obstacle itself becomes the opportunity. Reflect for a moment. How do you view the barriers in your life? Do you curse them? Do you shrink back in fear? Or do you act as if each one is guiding you towards a stronger version of yourself? Acting as if every difficulty is a stepping stone requires mental fortitude, but it is the foundation upon which greatness is built. The question remains, will you use your obstacles to elevate yourself, or will you allow them to define you? Building unshakable confidence is not born, it is built, brick by brick, decision by decision. Acting as if every step you take is one toward your highest self instills a level of confidence that is unyielding. It is not arrogance, it is assurance. Too many people wait for proof before they believe, but here's the truth. The proof comes after the belief, not before. You cannot wait for evidence of success before you act with confidence. Confidence is the act of believing before you see the results. Andrew Carnegie, who built a steel empire in America, he was not born wealthy, nor did he inherit his empire. He acted as if he belonged at the top long before he ever got there. Every handshake, every business decision, every investment, he acted with the confidence of a man who already possessed what he desired. That mindset forged his empire. The science behind this approach is compelling. When you act with confidence, your body chemistry changes. Cortisol levels drop while testosterone and serotonin rise. Your posture improves. Your voice resonates more deeply, and others respond differently to your presence. The biological reality follows the psychological commitment. Begin with your physical presence. Stand tall, speak clearly, and move purposefully. Your body doesn't know the difference between genuine confidence and acted confidence. It responds identically to both, creating a powerful feedback loop that transforms pretense into reality. Next, eliminate self-diminishing language. Replace "I'll try" with "I will," "I hope" with "I know," and "I'm sorry" with "thank you." The language you use programs your subconscious and shapes how others perceive your authority. Finally, embrace challenges that frighten you. Each time you step beyond your comfort zone and survive, you build evidence for your capacity to handle uncertainty, the cornerstone of unshakable confidence. Now look at your own life. How many times have you held back, waiting for certainty? How often have you doubted your own capacity simply because you had yet to see the fruits of your labor? Acting as if you are destined to succeed eliminates hesitation and instills a sense of purpose that no external circumstance can shake. To begin, act with the confidence of a person who has already achieved what they desire. When you speak, speak with authority. When you move, move with intention. Let your actions reflect the belief that you are on the path to greatness. Will you act as if you are destined for success, or will you wait for proof that may never come? The habit of decisiveness, success, does not favor the hesitant. Acting as if every decision matters forces you to develop the habit of decisiveness. When you move with purpose, you eliminate the paralysis of indecision and replace it with the power of momentum. History remembers those who act, not those who wait. Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman to receive a medical degree in America. She was told countless times that medicine was not a field for women, but she acted as if it was already her destiny. She did not wait for permission. She decided and moved forward with conviction. Her decisiveness opened doors that were once sealed shut. Now, ask yourself, how often do you hesitate when opportunity knocks? How many chances have you missed because you are waiting for the right time? There is no right time, there is only now. Acting as if every decision propels you forward, eliminates doubt, and empowers action. The world rewards decisive action. Every successful leader, innovator, and change maker shares this common trait. They decide quickly and commit fully. While others deliberate endlessly, the decisive few gain precious momentum. This momentum creates a powerful forward motion that sweeps aside obstacles and attracts opportunity. Decisiveness is not about making perfect decisions, it's about making timely ones. The universe has a peculiar way of rewarding motion. A decision made today, even if adjusted tomorrow, yields more results than perfect planning without execution. Consider this: for every opportunity you hesitate on, someone else is seizing it. In business, relationships, and personal growth, the decisive individual claims the advantage. They understand that an imperfect decision, executed with conviction, outperforms a perfect plan never implemented. To cultivate this habit, start small. Make decisions quickly and confidently in everyday situations. Choose a restaurant without reviewing the entire menu. Select a workout without debating options. Respond to messages promptly rather than letting them linger. Train your mind to act with purpose by establishing decision deadlines. Give yourself 30 seconds for minor choices, an hour for moderate ones, and a day for major decisions. This practice builds your decision-making muscle and prevents analysis paralysis. When you practice decisiveness consistently, hesitation falls away, and opportunity begins to unfold before you. Your confidence grows with each decision, creating a virtuous cycle of action and achievement. Will you decide to act, or will you wait and watch others pass you by? The choice and the consequences are yours alone. Turning vision into reality. Vision is the seed. Action is the water that makes it grow. Acting as if your vision is already real is what bridges the gap between dreams and reality. When you act as if, you align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with that vision. Thomas Edison, who acted as if his vision of the electric light was not only possible but inevitable. He did not see his thousands of failed attempts as failures, but as stepping stones to success. He acted as if the light had already been invented, and his persistence made it so. Do you treat your dreams as inevitable, or do you merely hope for them? Acting as if brings your vision into the present, making it real long before it is tangible. To do this, speak as if, move as if, believe as if. This mindset creates a magnetic force that draws necessary resources toward you. When you embody your vision with absolute conviction, people notice. They feel your certainty and are compelled to participate. Opportunities appear, connections form, and pathways emerge that were previously invisible. Acting as if means making decisions today based on tomorrow's reality. It means speaking about your vision in present tense, not future possibility. It means arranging your environment to reflect what's coming, not what currently exists. It means investing in skills you'll need when your vision materializes, not just those serving your current situation. Begin by immersing yourself in sensory detail. How does your vision look, sound, and feel? What daily actions would be natural if your vision were already real? Incorporate these elements into your routine, however small. Each aligned action strengthens your belief and signals to others that your vision is unfolding now. Remember that doubt is the assassin of dreams. When uncertainty creeps in, return to your conviction. Every visionary faces moments of doubt, but they refuse to let temporary feelings derail permanent ambitions. They act as if success is certain, especially when evidence suggests otherwise. Will you act as if your vision is already reality, or will you wait for the world to believe in it first? The creators who change history never wait for permission or validation. They simply act as if until vision and reality become indistinguishable. Mastering the art of persistence, when you act as if every decision propels you forward, you embrace the power of persistence. Understand this: persistence is not just about pushing through obstacles. It is about moving with unwavering faith even when the path is unclear. Most people quit not because they are incapable, but because they cannot endure the wait. Acting as if every step is progress transforms waiting into building. William Wilberforce, a politician who dedicated his life to abolishing the slave trade in the British Empire, he fought tirelessly for decades, facing opposition and failure. Yet he acted as if victory was inevitable. His persistence paid off when the Slavery Abolition Act was passed in 1833, a testament to the power of unwavering belief and action. But how do you respond when you are met with resistance? Do you falter, or do you act as if persistence is the only option? When you view every setback as a step forward, you eliminate the illusion of failure. It is not the end, it is the beginning of your refinement. The journey of persistence requires a profound mental shift. You must recognize that most achievements worth pursuing demand sustained effort through uncertainty. History's greatest accomplishments were built on countless invisible moments of perseverance, when giving up seems rational. Persistence transforms ordinary talent into extraordinary achievement. The marketplace is filled with brilliant minds who abandon their vision prematurely. Your willingness to endure when others retreat becomes your competitive advantage. This resilience separates dreamers from achievers. The secret to mastering persistence lies in your daily habits. Break overwhelming goals into manageable actions. Celebrate small victories that others might overlook. Create systems that make persistence your default response rather than requiring constant willpower. When fatigue or doubt emerge, return to your purpose. Your why must be stronger than your why not. Remember that persistence is not blind stubbornness. It requires strategic adaptation. The persistent mind evaluates results, adjusts approaches, and remains committed to the destination while remaining flexible about the route. This balance between unwavering resolve and tactical flexibility is the hallmark of masterful persistence. In moments of uncertainty, act as if the outcome is already secured. This conviction creates a psychological foundation that supports continued action, despite discouraging evidence. Your belief becomes the bridge that carries you through inevitable valleys of doubt. To master persistence, decide today that quitting is not an option. Train your mind to act with relentless faith, moving forward regardless of how the situation appears. When you adopt this mindset, you transform into a force that cannot be stopped. Will you act as if every step forward matters, even when progress is invisible? I'd be happy to rewrite this chapter to be 450 words while maintaining the core message about elevating standards. Here's my revised version. Elevating your standards. Every choice you make either propels you toward greatness or anchors you to mediocrity. When you act as if each decision shapes your ultimate destiny, you naturally elevate your standards. This isn't about perfectionism. It's about refusing to compromise on what truly matters. George Westinghouse, the visionary who championed alternating current when direct current dominated the market. While competitors mocked his approach, Westinghouse operated with unwavering conviction. He didn't merely hope AC would succeed. He acted as if its triumph was inevitable. This elevated standard drove him to innovate relentlessly, developing technologies that would ultimately electrify the modern world. Your standards aren't just preferences. They're predictions. When you demand excellence from yourself, excellence becomes your reality. Conversely, when you tolerate mediocrity, mediocrity becomes your ceiling. Ask yourself, would the person you aspire to become accept your current standards? Would they make the compromises you make daily? Would they invest their time and energy as you do? Elevated standards begin with awareness. Notice where you've been settling in your work, relationships, health, or personal growth. These compromises often masquerade as practicality or realism, but they're usually fear in disguise. Start small. Choose one area where you've been accepting less than you deserve. Perhaps it's allowing interruptions during your creative work, tolerating disrespect in a relationship, or rushing through important tasks. Establish a new standard and honor it religiously. Your standards create boundaries around what you'll accept and what you'll reject. When you elevate these boundaries, you automatically eliminate influences, habits, and relationships that no longer serve your vision. This process requires courage. Elevated standards often mean saying no more frequently, disappointing others occasionally, and facing your own resistance to change. But the alternative, living below your potential, exacts a far greater price. Each compromise chips away at your belief in what's possible for your life. Will you act as if your standards determine your destiny? Because they do. Embracing discomfort as growth comfort is the silent killer of potential. When you settle into routines that demand nothing new from you, growth becomes impossible. Not just difficult, but genuinely unattainable. The human spirit, like muscle tissue, develops strength only when pushed beyond its current capacity. This fundamental truth reveals why embracing discomfort isn't merely advisable. It's essential for anyone serious about transformation. Horatio Nelson at the Battle of Trafalgar, facing a superior Franco-Spanish fleet, conventional wisdom dictated caution. Yet Nelson didn't just accept the challenge. He amplified it by devising an unconventional battle strategy that required sailing directly into enemy crossfire. Why? Because he understood that breakthrough achievements demand breakthrough discomfort. His willingness to embrace vulnerability led to Britain's most decisive naval victory, forever changing the course of European history. This principle transcends battlefields. Every meaningful advancement in human history, scientific, artistic, philosophical, or personal, emerged from someone's willingness to endure discomfort that others avoided. Einstein's theories weren't born from intellectual ease, but from relentlessly confronting paradoxes that bewildered his contemporaries. Rosa Parks didn't change America by seeking comfort, but by deliberately stepping into discomfort that transformed a nation. Ask yourself honestly, what uncomfortable conversations are you avoiding? What skills remain undeveloped because learning them feels awkward? What dreams stay unrealized because pursuing them means risking failure or judgment? These questions reveal the invisible boundaries comfort has established in your life. When you act as if discomfort is not an obstacle but a compass pointing toward your greatest potential, everything changes. Rejection becomes redirection. Criticism transforms into refinement. Failure converts to education. The very experiences most people dread become the ones you secretly welcome, knowing they contain the seeds of your evolution. This mindset shift doesn't happen passively. It requires deliberate practice, regularly choosing the harder path, specifically because it's harder. Start your day with the most challenging task instead of the easiest. Engage with perspectives that challenge your thinking rather than reinforce it. Pursue physical training that pushes your limits rather than merely maintaining your current capacity. The paradox is beautiful. Those who perpetually seek comfort find themselves increasingly fragile, while those who regularly embrace discomfort develop remarkable resilience. Your nervous system quite literally rewires itself to handle greater challenges when consistently exposed to manageable stress. Masters in every domain understand this principle intuitively. They don't just tolerate discomfort, they actively pursue it, knowing it's the only path to mastery. They've discovered that temporary discomfort trades minutes of unease for years of capability. Will you continue avoiding what feels difficult? Or will you act as if discomfort is your most powerful teacher? The quality of your future depends on this choice. Leveraging time as an ally. Time, the great equalizer that grants each person exactly 24 hours daily, yet yields dramatically different returns. Some transform these identical hours into empires, masterpieces, and legacies. Others watch them dissolve into nothingness, leaving only regret in their wake. The distinction lies not in having time, but in how you perceive it, as a dwindling resource to be consumed or as a powerful ally to be leveraged. James J. Hill, the visionary behind the Great Northern Railway. Without government subsidies that supported his competitors, Hill built a transcontinental railroad that not only survived, but thrived when others failed. His secret wasn't access to more hours than his rivals. It was his relationship with those hours. Hill acted as if each moment carried profound significance, methodically laying track mile by mile across America's northern frontier. He didn't merely use time, he invested it with surgical precision, understanding that consistent, purposeful action compounds just as powerfully as interest. This perspective transforms how you approach each day. When you see time as your ally rather than your adversary, procrastination becomes unthinkable. Why postpone progress when each moment offers an opportunity to advance? The urgency isn't born from anxiety, but from recognition of potential. Each hour holds possibilities that, once passed, vanish forever. Most people unconsciously adopt a passive relationship with time. They speak of spending time or killing time, language that reveals how they view this precious resource as something to be diminished rather than multiplied. They allow circumstances, notifications, and others' priorities to dictate how their irreplaceable hours are allocated. The alternative requires a radical shift, treating time as your most valuable investment opportunity. Just as a skilled investor scrutinizes where each dollar goes, you must become equally intentional about where each minute flows. This doesn't mean eliminating leisure or rest. Quite the contrary. It means ensuring that everything, including relaxation, serves your larger vision rather than distracting from it. Begin by conducting a time audit. For 1 week, meticulously track where your hours go. The results often shock even the most disciplined individuals, revealing how unconscious habits consume massive chunks of our lives. Next, establish clear boundaries around your most productive periods. Defend these time blocks with the ferocity of someone protecting their most valuable possession, because that's precisely what they are. Eliminate the false urgency that modern life manufactures. Most emergencies that interrupt your focus aren't emergencies at all. They're merely other people's preferences disguised as priorities. Learn to distinguish between what's truly time segmentive and what can wait. Paradoxically, leveraging time often means slowing down to speed up. Strategic pauses for reflection prevent the busy work that creates motion without progress. Regular intervals of deliberate thinking ensure you're building the right track, not just building track rapidly in the wrong direction. The compound effect of this approach is staggering. Small, consistent investments of focused time create exponential returns that appear almost magical to outside observers. While others wonder where your lucky break came from, you'll know it emerged from thousands of moments intentionally directed toward your vision. Will you continue surrendering your hours, or will you transform them into allies, working relentlessly for your future? Cultivating unyielding faith. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but the commitment to action despite it. In a world fixated on immediate evidence and instant validation, the ability to maintain unwavering belief in what remains unseen represents perhaps the most powerful force in human achievement. This is not blind optimism. It is the disciplined practice of holding fast to vision when circumstances scream otherwise. Florence Nightingale, whose convictions transformed modern medicine, born to privilege in Victorian England, she rejected comfortable aristocracy to pursue what she considered a divine calling to nursing, then viewed as unsuitable work for respectable women. During the Crimean War, she entered squalid military hospitals where mortality rates exceeded 40%. Rather than surrendering to overwhelming evidence of failure, Nightingale acted as if transformation was inevitable. Her faith wasn't passive hope. It manifested in meticulous data collection, rigorous sanitation protocols, and relentless advocacy. Through her unwavering belief in possibility, mortality rates plummeted to 2%, and the foundations of modern nursing emerged. What distinguishes this kind of faith from wishful thinking? It's the marriage of unshakable vision with unflinching action. Nightingale didn't merely believe hospitals could improve. She implemented systems that made improvement inevitable. Her faith created a bridge between present limitations and future breakthroughs. Faith of this caliber requires deliberate cultivation. It begins with mental discipline, consistently directing your thoughts toward possibility rather than limitation. When obstacles arise, train yourself to ask, what's the opportunity hidden within this challenge, rather than, why is this happening to me? This subtle shift prevents temporary setbacks from becoming permanent barriers. Equally crucial is surrounding yourself with evidence of possibility. Study those who've accomplished what you seek. Immerse yourself in their journeys, not just their triumphs, but their struggles and how they maintained faith through them. Their stories become fuel when your own reserves run low. Practice speaking the language of certainty. Eliminate phrases like, I'll try, or I hope to, from your vocabulary. Replace them with declarations of commitment. I will and I am. This isn't semantic gameplay, it's neurological programming that shapes how you approach challenges. Perhaps most importantly, act as if success is inevitable, not because you're guaranteed specific outcomes, but because you trust the process of growth itself. True faith acknowledges that while the exact path may shift, the destination remains fixed. This perspective transforms setbacks from failures into redirections, criticism from discouragement into refinement. Faith of this nature creates a powerful paradox. It requires believing in what you cannot yet see, while simultaneously making that invisible vision increasingly visible through consistent action. It demands holding two contradictory truths simultaneously, acknowledging present reality while acting as if future reality already exists. The cultivation of such faith isn't optional for extraordinary achievement. It's essential. In the words of William James, belief creates the actual fact. Will you have the courage to believe first so that you might eventually see? Conquering fear through action. Fear is perhaps humanity's most ancient mechanism, a biological alarm system that kept our ancestors alive. in a world of predators and unknown dangers. Yet in modern life, this same system often preserves us not from death, but from growth. The threats we face rarely endanger our survival, but our legacy, our potential, and our fulfillment hang in the balance when we allow fear to dictate our choices. Harriet Tubman, whose story transcends ordinary courage, after escaping slavery herself, she could have remained safely in Philadelphia, embracing her hard-won freedom. Instead, she returned to slave territory 19 times, risking recapture, torture, and execution to lead others to freedom. With a bounty of $40,000, 0 cents on her head, each journey represented a deliberate choice to act despite overwhelming fear. Tubman wasn't fearless. She simply refused to let fear make her decisions. "I was free," she famously stated, "and they should be free also." This distinction is crucial. Conquering fear doesn't mean eliminating it. It means preventing it from controlling your actions. Fear itself is neither negative nor positive. It's merely information. The question is, what will you do with this information? The paradox of fear is that it diminishes not through analysis or preparation, but through direct confrontation. You cannot think your way out of fear. You must act your way through it. Each action taken despite fear weakens its hold, creating evidence that contradicts its warnings. This is why even small acts of courage yield disproportionate psychological returns. They begin dismantling the belief system that sustains your limitations. Begin by identifying your fear's physical manifestations, the tightness in your chest, the accelerated heartbeat, the mental chatter that generates worst-case scenarios. Simply recognizing these symptoms creates separation between you and the fear. You have fear rather than being fear. This distinction creates space for choice. Next, reframe fear as excitement. Physiologically, they are nearly identical states. The difference lies entirely in mental interpretation. Both involve elevated heart rate, heightened awareness, and increased energy. By consciously relabeling these sensations as evidence of excitement rather than danger, you transform what was once debilitating into fuel for action. Most powerfully, adopt the practice of fear setting rather than merely goal setting. Deliberately articulate your fears, identifying the worst possible outcomes of taking action. Then systematically evaluate the likelihood of these outcomes, their permanence, and your ability to recover if they occur. This exercise typically reveals that what we fear is rarely as catastrophic, likely, or permanent as our minds suggest. The ultimate conquest of fear comes not from its absence, but from the discovery that you can act powerfully in its presence. This realization that fear need not equal paralysis creates an unshakable foundation for bold living. You become dangerous to the status quo, immune to manipulation through fear, and capable of achievements others dismiss as impossible. Will you continue allowing fear to shrink your life into comfortable insignificance, or will you use it as a compass pointing toward your greatest contribution? Designing your environment for success. Your environment speaks to you in 1,000 subtle whispers throughout each day, programming your subconscious and shaping your choices without your awareness. Like water gradually carving a canyon, these influences may seem insignificant in any single moment, yet their cumulative impact determines the trajectory of your life. When you recognize this power, you shift from being a passive product of your surroundings to becoming their deliberate architect. Booker T. Washington's creation of Tuskegee Institute in 1881. Born into slavery and facing the oppressive reality of post-Civil War Alabama, Washington understood that environment wasn't merely a backdrop. It was either a catalyst or constraint for transformation. Beginning with nothing but an abandoned plantation, he meticulously crafted an educational environment that embodied excellence when everything around it suggested limitation. Students didn't just learn academics. They built the campus with their own hands, creating physical evidence that their futures could transcend their circumstances. Washington designed not just buildings, but an atmosphere of possibility that produced generations of leaders when the external environment insisted on subservience. Begin your environmental redesign by conducting a thorough audit. Examine your physical spaces. Does your home office inspire focused work or distracted browsing? Does your bedroom promote restorative sleep or mindless scrolling? Next, evaluate your digital environment. Do your notification settings interrupt deep thought? Does your social media feed elevate your thinking or inflame your anxieties? Finally, assess your social surroundings. Do your 5 closest relationships reflect where you're going or where you've been? The insights from this audit often reveal uncomfortable truths. The gap between your aspirations and your current environment explains why willpower alone has proven insufficient for lasting change. No amount of motivation can permanently overcome an environment designed to sabotage your goals. The solution requires strategic elimination before addition. Remove temptations rather than resisting them, and follow influences that trigger comparison rather than inspiration. Distance yourself from relationships that anchor you to outdated versions of yourself. Create space before attempting to fill it with more aligned alternatives. Then, systematically engineer environmental triggers that make optimal behaviors nearly automatic. Place your running shoes by the door if you're building a fitness habit. Position books visibly throughout your home if you're cultivating intellectual growth. Create dedicated spaces for creation that contain nothing associated with consumption. If your goals involve producing rather than merely absorbing, perhaps most critically, curate your social environment with uncompromising selectivity. The research is unequivocal. You will become the average